John, congratulations.
Thank you. It was different this year.
Yeah. Yep.
Looks like we're live streaming, but I'm not seeing anyone else from the commission at the building.
Yeah, I think maybe Matt's computer. There it is.
Ah, AJ got in, good. Oh, there we go. And I need a word from WCTV if we are ready to start. Hi, Nicole.
Hey.
Okay, who do we have in the conference room in the building? I see Gary. Gary, can you tell us who else is there? You're muted. Okay, can we see who else is there, please?
Jenny,
Before we start.
Michael Bloom, Gary, Jeff Slifer.
Okay, so we do have a quorum. Okay. To WCTV, we are ready to start when you give me the word.
They said they're ready.
Okay. Well then, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Redevelopment Commission meeting of Tuesday. It is Tuesday. All these days start to run together after a while, of November 10th, 2020. And we have several things on our agenda today. First thing is to review the minutes from our last meeting. Are there any changes or corrections to our minutes?
Hearing none, I move to approve.
I hear a motion to approve the minutes. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, I need a second for that, please.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second to approve our minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. I will note, just for the record, we do have a quorum for our meeting, so we can move forward. The next item of business on our agenda is the review of the financials. I believe that Beth is unable to attend today, but she did send the financials. Are there any questions that anyone has in regards to the financial statements as of September 30th, 2020? A slight review, just for the record, in regards to the TIF funding on the financial, just the bottom line that our total available for new projects is $3,187,220. We also have before us the Certified Tech Park, as well as the Johns Manville and the Heartland Fund. Are there any questions regarding these financial statements? If not, I hear a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve our financials. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Financials are approved. Thank you. Okay, our next item of business is really the only other item that we have on our agenda for today, and that is a review of resolution number 12-2020, and a resolution authorizing the appropriation and expenditure of funds, capital improvements to Richmond Community Schools for the amount of $885,068.75. And I believe that we have someone speaking to this resolution.
Good afternoon. I'm Karen Scout at Richmond Community Schools, and I don't know what is easier, if I'm in the front, it's kind of different when we're doing Zoom.
Wherever you can get closest to the microphone so that we can hear you best, Karen.
Let me get, are you about to the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, let me go ahead and
Okay.
screen share.
Is this better, Kathy? Can you hear me?
Yes, that's very good. Yes, thank you, Karen.
Yes. Today I have with me some members joining us from Zoom. We have board members, Ms. Nicole Stoltz and Mr. John Weber. We also have Mr. Glenn Slifer and Mr. John Hamilton attending. And they are our area managers for our facilities, and they direct all of that happens in our buildings. And so they'll be here to offer any comments if you have questions for them. I also would like to thank Mr. Sean Dingworth from the Richmond Art Museum. He is here. He's going to help present with me. And Mr. Dave Inderstro from Maze Design, who has prepared the documentation that you have on the budget and the figures and the projects. And then I also have Ms. Jennifer O'Brien, our interim superintendent. So thank you so much for the opportunity to come and to speak with you. We have an exciting project that we have provided as a request for funding. And we have titled that Redeveloping Our Arts Heritage. And this is really a focus at the McGuire Hall Arts Building. And I'm going to invite Sean to give you a little piece of what has been and what is to come with our proposal.
Great, thank you, Karen. Kathy, is this good?
That's very good, Sean. Yes, thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity. I thought I would just give a little bit of the history just briefly, and then more importantly, talk about the exciting things that we would like to do. From the very inception, this building was a private-public partnership. It was dedicated on Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, 1941, for a total cost of $92,000. And looking back to our industrial heritage, it was Mr. McGuire who gave $50,000 of that funding so that this arts building could be built. It used to house the orchestra, and of course, Richmond is the birthplace of the first high school orchestra in America. It also housed the Art Association and the band. Now, I don't know how everybody fit, but apparently they did, and 2 bathrooms. So this is the stage where Deacon Jones, Jeff Hamilton played when they went to school. This is the stage where Jennifer Niven, author who participated in Drama Club. It has a really great, rich history. And over the years, we've done everything from having Sammy Terry, who this was actually his last public presentation, to having the Ragamuffin movie shown. We have lots of requests from community members to utilize this building. But over the years, we've really had to adjust based on the temperature, based on the climate, and the needs of the community. So moving forward, we see this as a great opportunity for the community to utilize this space for workshops, conferences, symposiums. Obviously, the Art Museum uses it for the Fantascope High School Film Festival. The last several years, we've had to do that in Indianapolis. We would love to host that back in McGuire Hall. School is Cool uses it. I know Morrison Reeves Library is asked to use it. Many partners within our community, businesses, as well as other nonprofits. It makes a perfect space. It seats 500 people. So it's a little smaller than Civic Hall. And I think that gives a lot of opportunities for a variety of community partners who really could utilize this space. So we're really excited about this project. And as you know, the Richmond Art Museum just recently completed a $1.8 million renovation. So the building is really moving into the future. And so we look forward to doing that with the auditorium as well. So thank you for your time.
Sean, I had a question. I'm assuming that the current facility could not be used because of HVAC considerations.
That is correct.
just no air conditioning so that you can't do something during the warmer months in there. Is that
Exactly,
correct?
so we're very limited on that. And also in the summer, it's extremely warm as well. So there are very few months in which the community and the school, quite frankly, can utilize this space.
Thank you. Other questions for Sean? Okay.
Okay, so we'll get into some of the nuts and bolts of the proposal, and what our overall goal was is that whatever we do, that we fully integrate with all of the work that the Art Museum has done and all of the work that Richmond Community Schools plans to do in the next 2 years. So we have $3 million approximately that is set aside to improve the high school mechanically. And it is our goal that while that is probably going to occur over a number of years beyond that too, it's really our jumping off point. And knowing that this facility is really asked to be used on a very regular basis, and there's a very regular amount of time in which we have to say no because of air conditioning issues or technological limitations. We think that it's the time for us to partner together. And so that's why we've come to you today, because this really is a whole community project. It's one that everyone benefits from in our entire area. And it's something that we are excited to share with you. So our primary goals of the proposal is to do some mechanical and technical updates, to integrate fully, as I said before, with the updates that have been and are continuing to occur at the Art Museum and at Richmond High School, and also to improve our availability of usage, which Sean has already generously given us just a portion of what we see. What we know is it's almost a regular basis that we have to turn down requests. So our budget estimate for this project is right around the $885,000 mark. And we'll move into what that looks like. So aesthetically, we would like to do some painting, some wall and molding repair, some seating repair, some flooring, just some general stage updates. We'd like to improve the roof. Right now we've got some issues with some leaks and with some areas near the top that we need to shore up from the exit entry areas. And then we've got some mechanical updates, primarily air conditioning, as well as some lighting upgrades and some audio visual upgrades. So I thought it might be good if you can just see what we're talking about a little bit and very quickly. So this is the auditorium, the main area of the hall. And what I will draw your attention to are the areas with the arrows are just a little bit, but it's easier to point to them. So I thought arrows would be good. This is the entrance exit to the roofing area, or at least part of it. And we, as you can see, there's a little bit of light there. So we need to do, and we have worked on this a number of times, but we just need to continue to do some work. And so that would be a part of this. As you can see, we've had some molding fall down, and it's plaster molding. So it is the original. We want to make sure that what we do, we can keep that historical aspect going. And so we'd like to improve that. And there's just a couple of areas where it needs some special attention. That's part of this project. I might draw your attention to this little box, remember it as we move to the next slide, but there are some big pieces of this that Sean and I personally are looking forward to if we can do this, and that's lighting. So one of the challenges at the hall is the lighting and the sound, because it's very difficult when you get back into the back areas to hear and to see. It's very dark. It was set up as a very old lighting system, and it continues to function that way. So what you can't see is there are tiny little lights. There are 3 of them right here, but they're so small you can't see. And what I will tell you is we can't see very well back there either. And so we would like to improve that just for safety features anyway, but also so that we can utilize the hall for more items. I will say from the school's perspective, last year, we had an emergency situation that we had to reroute students, and we brought them over, and the Art Museum graciously helped us get a really quick setup of a movie. It was so fun for the kids to be in here, but it was also very challenging because it was hard to hear and it was really hard to see. And so we just know that the available use of this building could dramatically change with this proposal. The other thing that I'll just note is the color scheme. It's interesting. I'll just put it that way. If we can move to the next slide. So what I want to do is show you how we want to bring all this together with what the Art Museum has already done and what we are doing at the high school. So this is the original paint color scheme. You can see there is gold paint. We want to keep the historical piece of this, but we do want to update those colors, make sure that everything flows seamlessly. You'll notice we have red chairs, really kind of match the color scheme that's at the Art Museum. They took a very long period of time just making sure that that was a very neutral but classic paint, and we want to follow that through into this area. You will know that we haven't quite got there in all the areas yet. The yellow is the old part, the white's the new part from the Art Museum. We will just want to keep that flowing. The other thing is just a couple of examples of the work that we'll do on walls. This little nicks in the plaster just happen. We're constantly repairing them. The idea would be we just go in and get them all done at once. That would be really nice. The other thing is just to update the stairway areas with some flooring that is more current and maybe more durable than what is currently in there. So making sure that we do that and make it a positive improvement for our guests. The other thing is this computer setup is our technology along with the box in the back. I don't know about you guys, but if you have a true arts facility with a presentation for drama, for any kind of audio visual, this is a little lacking. So our proposal includes an upgrade to that and making sure that that is far more cohesive with needs and items that not only we can use for classes, for drama presentations, and for a lot of things that we might use it for, but also for the Art Museum to hold special events, for the community to hold special events. There's a lot that our community does for the arts, and we want to make sure that that continues. And we want to make sure that we can do it better. So how does this fit into redevelopment? Why did we think it was important to talk to you today? And basically, there are 5 reasons. You all are very familiar with what redevelopment is, what it means, what it can do for the community, and we completely agree. So that's why we feel like this is an important partnership for the quality of life in our area. We want to improve cultural events. We offer a whole lot in our town, and it's a huge selling point to the job market that we have, to people that want to come here and live. We know we need to keep that strong and keep it moving forward. And so that's why we're here today. We also want educational enhancement. We have a number of classes that would like to use that area, but as we said, anytime it's too warm, you can't. So it is something that we look at and we would like to also utilize in a greater way. We want to improve energy efficiencies. That's always one goal when you're updating mechanical systems, is to save on the bottom line. And doing this would improve that dramatically. It is a very old building. It was intended to be a structure on its own based on those original plans. It sort of functions that way, but it definitely needs some updates. And so we definitely believe that there's energy efficiencies to be had in that as well. The other thing is just general technological advancement. We are in an age where we have to do things technologically and digitally even. And this facility right now is very limited. It wasn't originally planned that way, as it wasn't even a known thing. And so we just need to bring some things up to a more usable and friendly process. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for considering this. We appreciate it. We're excited to partner with you if you choose to do this. We think it would be a wonderful addition and a wonderful update to our community, and it would be utilized by a tremendous number of people beyond Richmond Community Schools and beyond Richmond Art Museum. And it's something that would definitely provide a lot of value to our area. So if you have any questions, we are here. Please feel free to ask them. We are happy to help.
Thank you, Karen. I do want to point out to the rest of the commissioners, if we go back to our financial statements again, we have been earmarking funds for Richmond Community School capital projects. And right now, as part of the TIF Finance District, we have $450,000 that has already been earmarked, as well as another $100,000 that's earmarked from the John Manville Fund. So there is a total of $550,000 that can be used right now by Richmond Community Schools. And by statute, we are able to allocate these funds. And AJ, I may ask you to just speak to this briefly. There is a cap on this, I understand, not to exceed 15% of our annual revenue. Is that correct?
That is correct. There's a 15% cap, but it's my understanding after speaking with Beth that we were within that threshold, and certainly the proposal by RCS is contemplated within the statute.
Excellent. So this money is available for use by the RCS for whatever capital project that they deem important for them for the advancement of their objectives and goals. Is there another question that's come up in the room?
Kathy, I was just wanting to say that I have to recuse myself from any of the discussion and certainly the vote from this. I serve on the facilities executive and board for the Richmond Art Museum. So I'm here to listen, but cannot participate. Just want to make that known.
Thank you, Allison. Appreciate that clarification.
I have a question. Noticed in the resolution paperwork that came to us that, and I thought this would be a good place to ask the question. We're looking at it all from the TIF point of view, but we have $1 million in the certified tech part. Could that portion for the audiovisual upgrades, if you look at the proposal, is about what, 220, 230,000 or so? Could we actually allocate some of that out of the certified tech park and not use all TIF funds for the full amount?
We have new rules associated with Certified Tech Park as per state statute. And again, AJ, I would ask you to speak to this.
Yeah, it's a good question, and unfortunately, it's not one that I'm prepared to answer today. If any of you have spent any time thumbing through the Redevelopment Commission statutes, you've seen that they can be quite voluminous and they refer to other sections. So I would not want to give you my knee-jerk response to that. Anytime we're talking about how these finances can be utilized for particular projects, I like to spend some time with the various statutes that are applicable. So if that's something that the commission wants me to look into, I can certainly do that.
If you would, AJ, because if I understand correctly, there was some geographic limitation in only being able to spend the money within a geographic area designated as a certified tech park. And I don't believe that this area fits in that geographic location. But again, if you could verify that, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, I think there was also, wasn't there a term called adjacent to? And
I don't know if that applies to certified tech park financing. It does apply to TIF financing, which in this case, the allocation from TIF funds would be something that would support something adjacent to a TIF district. So that would be fine there. I don't know if it applies to certified tech park funds. Question that I had for Karen, your request is for $885,000. And we have $550,000 available to you. Is this a phased project that you're talking about over a number of years? Because we have this money available now, there will be additional funds available in the upcoming year and well, upcoming years actually. And I'm just wondering what your timetable looks like.
Our timetable is that we would probably finish within a 2-year period. So we can do a multi-year should we need to.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my question. I was wondering how, clearly this request exceeds 15% of 1 year's revenue. it's more like 2.5 years or whatever revenue. So can we approve this large an amount at one time, since it exceeds the 15%? Even, I know we've accrued 450 of it so far.
Right.
I mean, we can't give this out all in one shot. How does that work?
Well, I don't think the 15% applies to the distribution of the funds. I think it applies to the accumulation of the funds. Am I
Okay.
correct in that, AJ? AJ is nodding his head, yes.
Yes, thank you.
I wasn't sure how that was.
Okay. Because it looks like, according to a memo that Beth sent to me, she says, for each of the next 5 years, we've earmarked $250,000 from allocation area number 1, which is our standard TIF district, and another $50,000 from Johns Manville. So it looks like within another year, we could potentially have all of the funds available, but it would be a full 2 years before the 885 would be available in its entirety. But we do have at our disposal right now $550,000.
So we can still approve the bigger request, even though we don't have the monies earmarked actually in our coffers. AJ, you're nodding.
Good question, AJ.
Oh, yes, I would submit that you can, and if this is something that needs to be revisited because of issues that would arise at a subsequent date, then there can be amendments to what would occur at this meeting today. But I would propose, based on the way that the resolution is currently set up, that this board could move it forward.
Now, one other question, the allocation is as of today, or would that allocation go up another 250 as of January 1st? What is the
timing?
Yeah,
Do you know, AJ, what the timing is? on that?
No, I would have to defer to Beth on that from the financial side.
That is a very good question. I don't know at what point, if that's on a calendar year that becomes available, or if there's another fiscal year in there that needs to be considered based upon the way that tax revenue is coming in.
because that, if it's calendar year, then I would submit that the funds would be available January 1.
I don't think it is, because our financial report reports 2 dates on which we receive distributions. One halfway through the year, one before the end of the year.
I might speak to, only because I used to do budgets for the county. It depends on how your TIF district original language is set up. So if you're set up to run a budgetary January to December, all budgets in the state of Indiana for taxing units are January to December. However, TIF districts sometimes have different rules based on their original setup. So Beth would probably be your best bet on that, because she'll have that. But it could be either, depending on how that original setup occurred.
Would it be appropriate to perhaps revise the wording on the resolution that these funds would be distributed over a 2-year period based upon obtaining additional funds when they're allocated?
You could certainly do that, yes.
Really good.
Now, are we locked in on that 250 number? Kathy?
So far as I know, Mike.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I mean, what, 15% of our budget's around 375. I mean, we could, in theory, if we could change that 250 now, we could, in theory, allocate that money for next year. The additional, what we will need another, what, $330,000 approximately now, and that's within our 15% cap. I mean, we could add it, but I mean, next year, if we can change that 250 number.
I don't know. Are we locked in, AJ?
Again, I'm going to have to defer to Beth on the financial component of it. It's not a question that I have an answer to at this point. And certainly, I think that even though Beth couldn't be at this meeting, I can correspond with her, I would think this week, and provide that answer.
That number's been advertised as potential future projects because we have to identify projects with which what to allocate their monies for. And I think
I'm having difficulty hearing the comments. Could someone please get a little closer to the mic?
well, we were just talking in turn, part of the goal of the commission is when we have to advertise potential future projects that we're going to allocate that money to, or we would not be allowed to go out and get the full amount of the tax if we don't show a use to that, because there is some rules that saying if we don't have projects allocated in the future, we're limited on how much tax we can collect. And I think part of that number becomes, in an overall scheme, that part of that is an advertisement number that we use to allocate projects in the future. I think if we look, we got over $7.5 million potentially. And this is under the potential category. So I think part of that is we do our advertisement. So we do our advertisement correctly with our projects for the allocation of the funds.
I just hope that we survive an audit. That's the main concern.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that comment.
Want to make sure that we can survive an audit. I just want to make sure that we're confident in our opinions and that we can, I'm sure you would prefer to get the money sooner rather than later. So instead of drawing this out into 21 and 22, if we could do it all in 21, to me, that's a little bit cleaner, but merely an opinion.
Well, I think we probably could do it all in 21. I think that the monies that are allocated right now, the 550, could be available now.
Right.
And then the balance of it would be available in 21. I don't know the exact date in which it would be available. That's the question that needs to be researched.
Yeah,
but it would be available.
That 250 number in order to fulfill our obligation, because we're still 300 and whatever.
Well, it'd be actually 300 because it'd be another 50 from the Johns Manville.
Oh, okay. Oh, right.
So do you have bid documents for this, or is this just?
We do not have, they're conceptual. We do not have the documents.
So you've got probably at least 60 days before you're even gonna have bid documents.
There's a process, yes.
And, it's probably, you would be lucky to have contractors to award to by the end of March. So money wouldn't flow until
Next year.
So I don't think it's a problem.
Okay.
I have an infrastructure question. If that's okay to move on to that, or do you want to talk more financial?
Are there any other financial questions? I might also add, as we progress in our discussion here, that we do have a letter of support from the mayor for this project. I think everyone received that in the mail yesterday afternoon. Okay, please proceed with additional points.
I sit on the Civic Hall Performing Arts Board, and back in 2015 or 16, there was a high school near Indianapolis that had their stage. There were so many students on the front of the stage. There was a collapse. So Civic Hall spent quite a bit of money to reinforce that and work through that. How is the infrastructure? And I don't see anything on this listing about.
I can't
stage.
actually speak to that
Okay,
because
so-
I was a part of that. And that was a joint effort between Civic Hall and Richmond Community Schools to shore that up, make sure everything was good. But we paid for a study to look at both stages at the time, and McGuire came back fine.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I'm sure that they will come in and do some double checks on that just to make sure everything is current. And Mr. Understrike talks that even more, if he is aware of anything any different than that. But we did look at that at the time, and so that actually came back good. Right. So.
Good. I believe I'm hearing a few avenues that we could pursue here. One would be to defer this vote until we obtain more solid information in regards to the financial questions that we have. And also another option is to defer it based upon getting more firm estimates from contractors that would be bidding on this particular project so that we know the total bottom line. Or we can proceed today with voting on this resolution with potentially some revised wording that the funds would be distributed over a 2-year period. Are there other options that anyone would like to put on the table? Hearing none, what's the pleasure of the commission?
I personally would just assume, proceed to approve it as presented.
I would agree with that. I think they have they have a very good budget already, well thought out, and such a great project for our community.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to give them the initiative to go ahead and move forward. And then we can work out the legalities with the finances. We have the finances, we know we do.
So I'll make that a motion.
Okay. A motion has been made for resolution number 12, 2020, for the expenditure of $885,068.75. Is there a second to this motion?
I second, but I have a question real quick now.
Yes.
Is this our cap? What happens if they come back and give another 100K?
Good question. Karen, can you address that?
Just amend the resolution?
Yes, I think that both the school and the art museum are prepared to not have to come back. Should something come in, we already have planned improvements that we would expect. And so I think that we know.
So you're comfortable with this cap of this amount?
Yes, at this time, yes.
All right.
And we almost have a self-fulfilling cap in terms of the money that's being allocated. Okay, I hear a motion and a second. If there's no more discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is approved as written. Thank you, everyone. And good luck to Karen and Sean on this project. I think that everyone feels that it's very good, not only for the school system, but for the community as well.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any other business to bring before the commission today? Hearing none, I will adjourn the meeting, and thank you, everyone, and have a good week. Thank you.